Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? Welcome to the Inspired Livestream right here on the Inspired channel. I'm Jean Nolan. My wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan, can't be with us today. She is on a mission, as always, helping, as always, expanding. And it is Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, WON 21, and we're healthy. We're wealthy, we're whole, we're free, we're excited that you're here while you are tuning in and while you're jumping on and while you might see each other here in the live chat. Make sure that you let us know where you're tuning in from and who you are, connect with each other. I saw a bunch of you already chatting in the live chat here. So let me see who's here. El Comandanto 84 is here. Kevin is here. Welcome. What part of Tennessee are you tuning in from? Rebecca, good to see you. Who else is here? MP is here. Get Spiritual with Illy from Franklin, Tennessee, right around the corner here. Sunshine Education, Cosmicality. Who else is here? Windwalker, Stand in Your Truth. I love that. Thank you. Frank is here from Germany. Hey, Frank, wie geht's? Irina is here, also from Germany. Hey, Irina, wie geht's dir? Please Wake Up from the Netherlands. Vivian, Imelda, Divine Artistry. It's wonderful to see you all, tribe. We're letting people jump on. You know, they're getting their notifications. Angel is here. So wonderful that you're here. I think after yesterday's introduction of the new format, is it true that we have our own little YouTube person that's probably tuning in? Good to see you, Mr. YouTuber. We love you. It's wonderful that you're here. Rachel tuned in. Patrick tuned in. Today, tribe, as always, we're picking up on the energies that are out there. We're picking up on the conversations. This is what the Inspired Livestream is really about. We're very much in the current energy stream, picking up on what is going on, what's important to people, and then talking about it, and then trying to expand on this topic. And it's kind of like, basically the concept of a news show, just that we're not really going into daily current events usually, but more into the energetic realm, more of seeing what principles are playing out, what are people talking about, what is really becoming important. And today's topic is it's time to burn it. And the reason why this came up is because we picked up a very interesting energy over the last days and weeks and months, is a holding on to boxes for a lot of people. A lot of people, all of us at one point or another, we create boxes for ourselves and we create labels, and we have groups that we might belong to, that we might associate with, and this sense of belonging to a certain group of people, sharing, maybe interests, sharing certain views, can be very attractive. And there's inherently nothing wrong with that. If there's a club, maybe there's a book club and people like gardening books and they read them and talk about it. But there are so many boxes that people identify with and labels that people identify with that are limiting their experience totally. And the more pressure from the outside, comes at them, the more they cling to those boxes, even though they're not really serving them anymore. And we are in this society, we are programmed to be in those boxes, to have those labels. And I want to start, as always, we're going to peel the onion. We're going to go from the outside in and get to the core of this, because there's something beautiful, as always, at the core. But it's literally time to understand that all these boxes, and there's boxes for everything. I mean, from the time you are born, you are, you're put into boxes. Oh no, he's such, he's this kind of boy. He's a very wild boy, or she's a very calm girl. And these are, at first, there are descriptions, but as soon as you enter more into the social realm, and that starts very soon now, preschool, kindergarten, all of that, we are then put in boxes and labeled. And this is actually the first step to pure limitation. And this is what these boxes are meant to do. throughout life, we get put into labels and boxes. So we never explored the unlimitedness of our mind and of our human potential. I mean, if you step out of it long enough, and we've been doing this for such a long time, or stepping out and have been out of these main boxes for such a long time, that it becomes so painfully obvious that while people, and I want to talk about this word here. I decided that I'm not going to use the word human anymore, and I only reluctantly use the word human because I always felt that it's not the right word, that it doesn't mean what we believe it means, and that actually the only reason why we ever quit using the word man, capital M, man, is because it's the whole gender box where people say, oh my God, if you say mankind and if you say man and talk about women too, then you're not respectful. We're just, absolutely not what we intend to do. So I came up with a better idea. And I'm going to use the German word Mensch. And Mensch is really even if you go very, very far back, a very deep description, a very deep, beautiful word for who we truly are. So these boxes limit our understanding of who we are. And then go out, step outside as far as you can and ask yourself, why? Why are we being limited when we go to preschool, when we go to kindergarten, when we go to school, when we go to university, when we go to college, when we go to learn a trade? Why is our creative thought, why is our true potential as mankind being constantly boxed in and constantly muffled and constantly put down? And why are we always just told, follow these rules, follow these guidelines, do what we tell you? This is how it is. This is what truth is. This is what authenticity is. Don't explore. Don't think for yourself. Don't become who you were meant to be. Because that's the only way how you could control people. That's the only way how you could get people to do what you think they should be doing. And if you step out long enough of your own little boxes, of your own little labels, if people say, well, I'm a barber, people say I'm a IT specialist. No, you're not that. That is a skill that you have. You are so much more than that. And then people say, well, I'm a liberal, I'm a conservative, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're none of those things. These are just things that you temporarily align with or identify with or associate with, but that's not who you are. And one of the biggest prisons that we live in is not our 9-to-5 jobs. It's not, what other, the house that you live in, or you can't travel right now. That's not the biggest imprisonment. The biggest imprisonment is what happens up here. And only if you step out of it, you can allow yourself to ask the bigger questions in life. And this is what you're never meant to do. This whole system was created so you would never get to the point where you had enough time and enough freedom and enough courage to ask the bigger questions. And the bigger questions you cannot ask within this limited system of thought. It is such a limited system of thought. I'll tell you, my good friend Rory Feek, he's a country artist and songwriter here, and a very dear man, truly good mensch, and he's very popular social media, got millions of followers, and we chat. We meet usually once a week. We have a morning meeting, coffee, and talking and chatting. And Rory says, my social media conversation is one way. I put out a video, I put out a statement, a blog post. I never, ever read a comment. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. I can tell you that. But we're not that way. Christine and I, we do read comments, and we do love the conversation that we have with you all. But in that, sometimes there's, thousands of comments in one day. And of course, we cannot read every comment, but we read a fair amount of them. And my goodness, As beautiful as quite a lot of them are, some of them are just reeking of people arguing for their limitations. And they're not arguing for their limitations because their dear life depends on it. It's just because their belief system depends on it. And all this game is just one big belief system, one dogmatic belief system that is based on ideas, based on stories that people made up that came here before you. And most of us never bothered to question those stories or those belief systems. We just go along with it. I'll tell you some of the, some of the very justified questions. Is it the year 2021? Is it truly? I mean, even this way of counting time, starting with Jesus's birth, and then going to 2021 years later, even in this timeline, there is a very, very high probability that not 2021 years have passed since the birth of Jesus Christ. There's a very high probability. There's a more than high probability that what we celebrate today as the birthday of Jesus is not even close to when that man was born. But let's stick with the year for a while. What if I told you at a high level, historians and archaeologists and researchers that had absolutely nothing to gain and everything to lose have spent a lot of time and energy into looking at our timeline and actually saying, well, no, there's a good chance that there's at least 350 years missing. And when I say missing, we should probably subtract 350 years at least from our timeline. So we're not in the year 2021. We might be actually, somewhere in the late 1600s, maybe, I mean, it's just absolutely amazing what happens when you begin stepping outside of the box. And let's go further. As long as we're in this time discussion, what if not just that this linear observation of time that we have, how we count time, one year coming after the next after the next, what if we were to look at the interdimensionality of time? And what if what I am doing right here, right now, is actually just the memory of my future self? Or what if what I'm doing right now is the vision of a self that is in the past? Throwing this out. What if this is playing out in one of an infinite numbers of parallel dimensions? And this sounds hypothetical. This sounds sometimes crazy, but we need to understand one thing. If we do not burn, and I'm not talking step out of the box. I'm not saying leave it for a minute. I'm not saying put it in a garage. I'm saying get rid of the box. Burn the sucker. Burn the boxes of what you believed reality is, because the systematic reality outside of us is, for the most part, a complete matrix. It is artificial. It is not real. It is not authentic. It is synthetic. And I can tell you, over many years, I've been in both sports and show business all my life. The deeper you dive into, let's say show business, the deeper you dive into things, the more all of the illusions dissolve and you see nothing is as it seems. Nothing. No show, no reality show, no concert. Most of the artists, most of what is, nothing is as it seems. You come deep enough, you see there's a whole lot of nothing there. It's an illusion. And, then I can tell you this. I grew up in a business family. My dad's a businessman. So I could see in his world that the deeper we went, the deeper he took me, the more he showed me it's all an illusion. There is a set of rules that doesn't really apply to all people, and that in behind the scenes of what you can see, things are usually the exact opposite of what they appear. And so I went into all the fields I could get access to, and over the past few decades, 2.5 to 3 decades now, I've been invited into very different fields. And every time the same thing happened. What we see on the surface, what we see, from this field, from science, from arts, from medicine, from politics, finance, what we see on the surface does never reflect the truth and the reality that is playing out behind the scenes. So, my suggestion is, if you want to come deeper to the truth, to authentic experience, take what the official mainstream narrative is, take what the consensus is, take what the factual academic truth is, and turn it upside down. Assume the opposite and work your way inwards from there. But this is just one way of doing this. As a matter of fact, I've come to only believe in certain values and principles fully that I live by. Nothing else. There's nothing else that I absolutely commit to than a set of principles. I wrote them down. Those are some values, principles, morals that guide me, guide my life, that I find no matter how deep I go, no matter how deep I dive into the non-physical realm, no matter how deeply I connect with my creator, this always appears to be true, valid, appears to be solid, appears to be applicable, appears to be my practical spirituality. This works, and I'll read this to you in just a little bit. But other than that, over the years, I've allowed myself to question absolutely everything I have been ever told. And what I have found is that when I go deep enough and I find a new truth, I find a new layer. Let's say in business. So in business, there is a certain, you go to business school and you learn all the rules. You learn about the supply and demand. You learn about the different financial concepts. You learn about the monetary concepts. You don't learn the truth. You just learn a truth or a version of the truth, or usually fake truth. But basically what the business world tells you is have a good product. If you can offer it at a lower price, work as hard as you can, do good advertising, blah, 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 and then you'll be successful. When you go deep enough into the business world, what really plays out is hardcore monopolies, bribery, corruption, and such a reverse structure of what is being put out into the world. And so 90% of the people, up until recently, 95% of the people have lived in this matrix bubble, simply soaking in what this matrix is telling them, and having a constant disconnect between what they feel and what is actually playing out. And so we're in this time now where we need to burn our boxes. And one of the things in the past weeks and months that has been coming to us is comments and emails and people telling us, you shouldn't talk about this. You're called the Inspired channel, and really you shouldn't talk about conspiracy stuff, and you shouldn't really talk about COVID, or you shouldn't really talk about any of the other things that we talk about or we feature on our channel, the guests that we have, all of that. And here's my answer, and here's my, I'll give you a straight answer is, fuck that. That's a straight answer. Fuck that. I'll talk about whatever I'm inspired to talk about. I'll talk about whatever comes from within, whatever moves me, drives me, we talk about is important to us, we feel is important to the whole. That's what we're going to do. I don't adhere to boxes. I don't adhere to preconceived notions about something, because I can tell you the narratives are all bullshit. It's all one big fake lie. But once you allow yourself to see that, and the allowing part means that you might have been around for 60, 70 years. You might have been around for 80 years. And if you actually allow yourself to see things for what they are, you must also allow yourself to realize that you might have been living a lie in many ways. We all have. And that's the hardest part. It's not that people don't see truth so often. It's that they would actually have to change fundamentally how they live, what they say, what they think, what their ideas are. I'll tell you something. I had a conversation with someone in my life, very close, and she has been telling the same story as far as I can, as far back as I can remember. And one day I asked her, when did you make up your mind about this particular topic? And she said, well, there was this thing that happened when I was 15 or 16, and I realized, this is the truth. Now I asked her, how many times in your life was this truth confirmed for you? How many times have you actually seen this to be true? How many times have you actually seen evidence that what you believe is true? And she was thinking for a while. And she said, well, I have never really asked myself the question. I just assumed that it's true. And I asked her, and she's in her 60s, so it's a good 50 years. So I asked her, so for half a century, you walked around being absolutely certain that what you believe about this is the truth, but you've actually never considered to look for evidence, actually never considered to, have some sort of investigation about this. You just assumed. Do you know that most people live that way? They have a belief system. In the best case, they've actually gathered those beliefs. They've actually made up their mind about this themselves. That's the best case scenario. The usual scenario is they just pick up beliefs, pick it up when they're very little, pick it up in their formative years, pick it up in their adolescence, and then they go through life believing these things. And it's not, I'm telling you, yesterday's live stream was a really, really good example of that. We did a live stream for those of you who weren't in here. Is it true that? That's a new format that we're going to do. Is it true that? And we asked 22 questions, investigative questions about COVID, about vaccines, about all that stuff. All of these questions, for those of you who have done their homework or will be doing their homework, I mean, it could be that we made a mistake, but I'll say this. I'm pretty sure those 22 were solid evidence for all of those questions. Do you know that solid evidence to a certain section of the population means nothing? Do you know that you could put in front of them a metric ton of irrefutable proof, evidence, hard facts? It would not matter. Do you know why? Because they have been programmed to get their information formation, to put them in a form. They have been programmed to get that from certain sources, whether that's CNN or Fox News or whatever it is in your country, or a certain newspaper or whatever. And as long as that source is going to say something, they're going to believe it. Even if that source says the grass is green on Monday, and that same source says, no, the grass is blue on Tuesday, and the same source says, no, the grass is really purple on Wednesday, they're going to believe every time what that source says, simply because of their programming, simply because they're in a box. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It doesn't matter what facts are. For a certain section of the population, that is so. It is absolutely useless to try to tell them, ask them, show them. It's a waste of your time and energy. There's 99.9% no hope. There maybe is 0.1% hope for some of them, but for the most part, no hope. Absolutely no hope. That's gone. We need to accept that. But for all the others, I can only tell you, from every little thing I've questioned, and I still do, every little thing, every habit, every belief, every thought that I have as I walk through life. Why am I doing this? Why am I sleeping on a mattress? Why am I sleeping on a bed? Why do we use box springs? Why? Why do we use the materials that we use? Why do we do things that makes absolutely no sense? Why do we put all of this stuff in the food? Why do we have giant, absolutely humane, crazy animal farms that treat living beings worse. I mean, we worship this shit here, and we treat it well, and we put covers on it, and we take care of it, and we pay for it, and we pay enormous sums for it, but we do not treat living beings with even 1% of that dignity. You have to leave your fucking boxes, all burn them down, and step out and begin to think in the vicinity of the creator's thoughts. And you can't do that in the boxes. If you really want to have that divine spark within you activated, if you really want to understand deeper what all of this is about, you have to leave every freaking box, every box that you've ever created for yourself, which means free flowing, which means no outer security, which means no safety net, nothing to fall back on, but being completely open to the thoughts and the thought process of the creator. And once you step out of the boxes, you step out of linear thinking, you step out of preconceived notions. It's like a clean slate. It's like a blank sheet. It's a completely new thing. And then with time, when you tune in here, when you combine it with this, when you go deep enough, and when those thoughts begin to accelerate, and that is when you begin to tap into divine thinking. It's the acceleration of your thought, because the creator thinks in such tremendous speeds. We can't even fathom how fast the creator thinks, how all-encompassing. And the creator gave us those properties too, those abilities too, maybe not to the same extent, obviously, but to a very, very creative and beautiful extent. And I can tell you that I have practiced for at least 10, 12 years now this kind of thinking. And what that means is that I'm building houses and towers of thoughts over months and years. And I go deep into it, and I accelerate my thinking. I connect. And I can sometimes not just create or go into the quantum field to tap into my vision. I can sometimes co-create the path, the how it's going to unfold, what it's going to involve, how the people are going to come. Sometimes I can get a glimpse of how that works, but it requires discipline. It requires discipline to let go of the distraction, to shut them out, to turn the TV off, to stop listening to box thinkers that tell you, come in my box, this is truth, this is authenticity. It's really the only way how to experience this new reality that's actually the original reality that's already emerging. It's already here. But think about it that way. If you are not compatible, if you are not adaptable, if you don't sync up with that vibration, you will not see it around you. You will not see this new reality. You will continue to just live in those boxes. So it's really a stepping out of it. And I can tell you, I'm going to read this list of values here that are important to me, because I accept and realize that I am in a physical presence, in a physical experience with others in this society, that we have tangible physical things to do. There's beauty in creating together, beauty in creating systems to help each other, beauty in all those things. So I believe we need a set of true, tangible, applicable values. And I've written some of them down that are important to me. For example, placing principles, morals above temporary desires or temporary instant gratification, which means that a return, because we've really stepped away as a society from true principles, morals. What does that mean? A principle means that despite opportunity and despite a desire to grab that low-hanging fruit here, if you know it's wrong because it's not yours, if you know it's wrong because it might hurt someone else if you do it, you don't do it. That's principle. That's moral. We need that. Another value for me is a never-ending quest for truth and authenticity. I never, ever accept something just because someone else says it. I go deep enough. I go here deep enough. I feel my way through it. I research, I investigate. I have a never-ending quest and desire to find truth and authenticity. Another really important thing, I believe, a constant value in my life, helping and empowering others. I believe we were built that way. I believe we were built for cooperation, not competition. Cooperation, not competition. Of course, there's a place for friendly competition. Of course, there's fun in that. Of course, there's joy in that. I mean, kids naturally run and see who's faster, who can climb up the tree faster, who can do this, who's stronger. All of those things are totally fine. But as a principle, cooperation, empowering each other, helping each other, um, teaching self help, self reliance, and personal responsibility, I believe, throughout our lives, not just one lifetime, but all lifetimes, to be able to take care of yourself, not just spiritually, physically too. Feed yourself, clothe yourself, have all those abilities that we have lost because of our emboxed matrix lifestyle. But also taking responsibility, because you are responsible for all of your actions, all of your words, all of your deeds. That's important to me. A devotion to the principle of justice. And I have studied many cultures and tribes, many different forms of systems, and I've yet to find a system that doesn't have some sort of regulatory justice apparatus. Every tribe has it, every clan has it, every nation has it, every sort of community has a justice system. And justice system doesn't necessarily just mean punishment. It means that there has to be a balancing. When something happens, when a crime's committed, when someone is hurt, or worst case, someone's killed, there's a huge imbalance. So we have to have a form of justice system that recreates the balance, right? Forgiveness is a part of it. We have to have those cultures again. We have to bring that in. We don't have, I mean, we have a court and justice system that is so detached from this process, and it doesn't work anymore. It's corrupted to the core. It doesn't bring about justice anymore. So, but we're so relying on this system that isn't working anymore. We've lost our cultural abilities, our social abilities, our community abilities to have rituals for that. There's a beautiful ritual. Actually, I've heard this. I mean, there's the Ubuntu principle, of course, in Africa. I think originated from South Africa, but there's other beautiful cultures that have a wonderful ritual when someone commits a crime, does something, steals something, does something wrong, or harms another in the community. Actually, form a circle, and then the person that had committed whatever transgression it was sits in the center, and everyone in the circle tells of a memory that they had with that person, something pleasant, reminds the person of their good qualities, reminds the person of their beautiful heart, of their traits, of their strengths, of their talents. And it goes around and around till everyone has spoken. And what that does is really a healing, because there's a belief that if someone um, does something against another, there must be something inside of them that is sick, a sickness of the soul that, whether that's greed, or whether that's jealousy, or whether that's, whatever it is. So that's a healing principle. I'm not saying this is the only way, and that's works for everything, and everything is solved with that. But we have to have some sort of ritual within our communities and societies, again, for justice. Another very important thing for me is the respect, dignity, and love for individuals. We have moved into a hyper collective discussion mindset in the public eye, but I believe there's only awareness, and consciousness only happens first and foremost individually. That is important to me. Promoting freedom in all areas of life, living in harmony with nature, and respecting the divinity and the sanctity of all life. So those are the principles, give or take, plus minus a few that I might not have spelled out completely, that I live by, that we live by. But other than those principles, I do not box myself in. I have sided with I've sided with people that in the public realm were completely bashed and made out to be with the worst people, because I've gotten to know them. I've gotten to realize it's just the other way around. And I've walked with those people that everyone else wanted to stone, basically. And I have allowed myself so many times, and currently, again, allow myself to maybe hold views and perspectives that are highly unpopular and that might be in the face of what this narrative is out there, but I don't give a shit, because all I seek is truth and authenticity. And if 6 billion people walk down this path, and I know this is the wrong path, and I know it's based on lies, and I know it's based on deception, I will walk my own path. And I don't give a fuck. I will walk my own path. If I'm the only one, I don't care. Because I live by principles and values, not by belief systems and not by preconceived notions. That to me is a spiritual path. Everything else to me is bullshit, but that's just me. And it's totally fine if you view it differently. However, what I can tell you is no matter where you stand, no matter where you land, no matter what you believe right now, if you do not examine the boxes that you live in, the labels that you've put on yourself, or maybe others have put and you've just accepted them, if you don't do that, you are going to be pushed and pulled in different directions constantly. Someone's going to want to push you here. Someone's going to tell you, you got to do this. I'm an artist and songwriter. That's basically my heart thing. It's what I love to do, right? What I have been doing for such a long time. And I don't buy into the music industry. I move through it because it's a world I move through, but I don't buy the game. I don't play the game. And so many times, people have told me, you should do this, you should look like that, you should wear this, and you should say that, and you shouldn't say that. Oh my God, I shouldn't say. I've never played that game. And you know what? We live a beautiful, wonderful, exciting, expansive, amazing life. Completely authentic and true to ourselves. I never, ever give up what I believe in, truly, because I've come to that conclusion through real and authentic truth searching. And I will continue to live like that. And I will continue to examine my own boxes that I might have put up, because maybe over time, I am more married to a perspective rather than seeking the truth. And then I will examine that box and burn it down, because I know that's the only way how you can be truly free. We've arrived here in this year that might not be 2021. It might be 16 something. It might be 15 something. But we have arrived in a time. We've arrived in a time quality where we all need to do that. Because as much as people believe this ascension journey is a physical process, it is a dimensional process. And if you want to experience the beauty of a different dimension, if you want to experience the authenticity and truth and the natural space of what this really is, you will have to exit all those belief systems, exit all those boxes, and open yourself up to the divine thought process. And then you will not follow Jesus Christ or follow Muhammad or follow whatever prophet or God or whatever. You will seek to become, to live a Christ-like life, not follow Jesus Christ, to live a Christ-like life and look at the qualities, look at the truths, look at the principles. And even then, what did Jesus Christ do? Completely burn down all the boxes. He completely debunked the system, pointed out the corruption, the fakery, the how people were kept small, how people were kept in boxes. He spoke out against organized religion. We're here in this time, and we will not have this process that all of us are so seeking so strongly if we live in a box and if we hold on to our labels. And there are so many labels. Look at just last year, 2020, what has been thrown out, everything from, I mean, acronyms that I don't even know what they mean anymore. And these lives matter, and those lives matter, and those lives right now don't matter, and they matter a little less, and they matter a little more. All that craziness, bullshit. People that want you to jump on their bandwagon because they want to have control over your mind. All of this is simply to have control over your mind. Because when you take back your mind, when you actually take back the sovereignty over your mind and consciousness, you will not be controllable anymore. There will be nothing to pull out of you anymore. No energy, no consciousness, no awareness, no soul. You will become the liver of your life again. But you cannot do that when you walk with those that seek to do that, and when you jump on their bandwagons and live in their boxes. And it's a time, and those people are everywhere on all sides. So don't associate with boxes and labels. Look for people that have a purity in their heart, that seek truth, that seek authenticity, that live by principles, not by boxes, and associate with them. That's true. That's a symbiotic relationship that we have with people when we elevate each other, when it's like a beautiful tennis game where I play you the ball, you play back, and it's just a flow, and it isn't about who makes the point. It's about making it the most beautiful game that it can be. That's what we need to do, Inspired Tribe. That's what we need to do. Burn down those boxes. I mean, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which part of if you're the B or the G or the L or the Q or the whatever. It's all just to divide us. We're all a family. We're a mensch family. We're a mankind family. We're all of one people. And these boxes are here to divide us, but more than that, they're here to imprison us in the mind and to limit our abilities. And I'll tell you something too. As soon as you begin burning down the box and stepping out, your capabilities, your abilities, they will not just grow, they will grow exponentially. And if you don't know what exponential growth is, it is basically there's linear growth, and exponential growth means that's when the curve gets up higher, 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 steeper, steeper, because you explode in the most beautiful way, because you're opening yourself up to the divine ways that were always meant there to be there for you and inside of you. That's what happens. That cannot be taught. It can only be experienced. And that this is a time. I want to acknowledge some of the people. I know there's many more of you, but some of the people that have reached out to us and just say thank you for your beautiful comments. Some of you are doing the craziest, bravest, most wonderful, beautiful things. I mean, one example is our dear friend Illy, who is in our Inspired Coaching Academy. She packed up her stuff in Texas, left a box completely behind, exited that box, burned it down. Not in terms of hurting people, but burned the ideas down. Moved to Tennessee and is truly expanding in the most beautiful ways. And I know others of you are doing it in your own ways. I just read a beautiful comment of someone yesterday. They're leaving California. They're leaving restrictions. They're not going to be forced into taking a vax that they don't want to take. And they're going to Florida, living a different life, living a new life. My goodness, so much empowerment, so much beauty. And I want to thank you for thanking us, but we don't take the credit for that. It's all you. It's all you. We're just aligning energies here. We don't take the credit for that. It's you guys. It's what you do with it. And so this is it. I mean, there's so much empowerment in this. So much beauty. That divine spark tribe, it's all you. Live it, find it, seek it, expand it, and live by principles, not by labels, not by boxes. Tribe, we love you all. Make sure you tune in on Thursday. It's going to be Q Thursday, question answer. But I urge you, even if you don't have a question, to tune in Thursday. Because if you don't, You might be sorry afterwards for a while. So tune in Thursday, 2 p.m. Central, right here on the Inspired channel. We love you all. We appreciate you. Burn the box. Live your life. Be who you were always meant to be. Tribesters, be abundantly blessed.